Highly unlikely. Even as persons, it is not uncommon, unusual in countries all over the world to identify who these persons are and even issue international arrest warrants seeking the help of other nations or countries creation so they can be prosecuted. That such national requests will be made, and you might remember that the United Arab Emirates named and prosecuted 6 Nigerians and 32 cautions last or the week before. Adesina's colleague and President Buhari for allegedly funding. I'd asked to give an update on Nigeria is not interested in naming and shaming anybody, rather it wants to bring them to justice. Why is that the case? He also said the UAE has brought some names and the Attorney General of the Federation has responded to that matter, saying that in due course all these people would have their days in court. Rest assured, these people will be tried before justice and justice would have its way. So the question is this: when the UAE tried some Nigerians, prosecuted them, got convictions, and more recently even named other Nigerians as well as persons of other nationals, was the UAE simply trying to name and shame and not interested in bringing them to justice? Of course that was not the case. The UAE named them, but it was part of a process, or it is part of a process, to bring them to justice. And it doesn't quite fit in as well with the modus operandi of the Nigerian government, or at least the present government. It doesn't fit in, because the Nigerian government that we know is very quick to name. As a matter of fact, you get the perception or the impression sometimes that even before investigations have been conducted, even before any evidence has been secured, to get a conviction, names are flying everywhere. EFCC spokesperson is granting interviews. Even the DSS these days are in the media space as well, constantly talking about who they are arresting, who they are picking up, and who they want to try. Naming and shaming all over the place. Sometimes, once again, you even get the impression that they do not have all it takes to get or secure a conviction. We can't forget in a hurry what happened with the NSAS protesters. Federal government was quick to name, shame in quotes. Accounts were even, it was announced, we had a list of persons who were said to be the sponsors of the NSAS protests. Bank accounts were blocked, seized. Names were published. There was names could go about naming and shaming NSAS protesters, or naming and attempting to shame NSAS protesters, block their accounts, restrict their movement, seize their passports. And the same can be said for several other individuals as regards to several other cases or instances. Why is it out of place to name financiers of Boko Haram? Why would that be anomalous? Why would that be a wrong thing to go? Why can't that be part of the justice seeking or justice delivery process? Why? Perception. Perception. So when people draw conclusions, which might be wrong, by the way, I am not drawing such a conclusion, not right now, I'm not. When people draw conclusions that the federal government, or any other government for that matter in the country, might be treating terrorists with kid gloves, how do you blame them? You have helped to foster this perception that they have. When you name and attempt to shame NSAS protesters, and you say that the ambition or agenda of the government is not to name Boko Haram terrorist financiers, how do you help people to not have such a perception that you are treating terrorists with kid gloves, even though that perception might be wrong? So Nigerian leaders must understand that perception is key. How the people perceive your actions is as important as whatever thing you want to accomplish, no matter how laudable or brilliant that intention is. perception is key, because for lots of people, if not most people, perception is reality. On that note, I end my rant. Thanks for listening. Hope you were on board. Let's get your take. Lines are open. 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, or 0817 923 0007. Numbers to call. We're live on facebook.com/Nigerian for PH, and WhatsApp on 0809 0306416. Keep it brief, straight to the point as well. Do I have a call screener today? I don't know. Hello, Hard Factor, welcome.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Dayo.
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that I will want to be listening to you for a very long time on air, and because the topic you just ran on today, you might be stepping on some powerful toes, especially when we have the NBC as a watchdog over the media houses to suppress cases like this. If you ask me, we are talking about the sponsors of Boko Haram not being named or shamed or even brought to justice. Now, that is because, well, like you said, we shouldn't look into things or cook up things like that, but the body language of the government is obvious that the so-called sponsor of the IPOP was repatriated from Kenya to Nigeria. That is because government have the power to do so. And permit me to say that is because this particular guy is from a particular part of a particular country. That is why they can achieve that.
Well, but that perception may be wrong.
Okay, so like I said, the body language. I know when somebody is dancing to Makosa and you are dancing Makosa when they are playing blues, it will not make any sense. So the language the body language of the government is not for the.
Yeah, what if the person doesn't know Makosa music and is hearing it for the first time? The person might dance like they're dancing to blues. You know, like that could happen.
The body language of the government is obvious, Mr. Dayo.
All right, great to hear from you, sir. I must go for a quick commercial break. I just remember that. I'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us.
And now, Hard Facts. Hard Facts with Dio.
Welcome back. Still Hard Facts in Nigeria Info. I'm Dio. 8 minutes ago before 4 p.m. Getting your thoughts still on my rant from earlier on perception vis-a-vis the government's position, the federal government's position that it is not intending to name or shame Boko Haram or terrorist financiers. Let's get to take now via Facebook. endurance goes. Indiana Bong, how can government name and shame the sponsors of Boko Haram when they don't even know the names? Please, I would like the president to employ foreign bodies or agencies to come and help them out, because if they get the names, there will be no interest to shame them. Hello, Hot Factor, welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Adedayo.
Go ahead.
Ms. Emmanuel, first I want to thank you, just as we'll always tell you, thank you for bringing us some issues to the public, for us to still give our own different opinion on it. We are not, or I was not expecting the presidency or the president to name anybody as being a sponsor of Boko Haram, but rather, whichever way they want, they can take them, bring them to justice. And, there's one proverb in my place, we call it Ezonyagulam. Ezonyagulam is one that does not take advice, and anything that he or she does is very, very okay in his own side. So everybody is watching. If you ask me whether the spokesman from the president or whatever they're saying, I think they're just passing a message to the entire world that over here in Nigeria, things are not done properly. And my happiness is that Nigeria will not remain in one person's hand, and the whole world is watching. And one thing about the truth, just as I will always say, that is like a wet sand in a man's hand. Once there is heat or sun, the sand will gradually begin to come out.
Great to hear from you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Hello, Hot Fans. Go ahead. Let's go back to WhatsApp then. The lives of their own people. Very sad. Thank you so much for your run, because I've been thinking of this. Femi Adesina.
Yeah, Dayo, good evening.
Go ahead.
George from Buguma. Yes, you see, Dayo, you see, to me, I would say that naturally a sinner is already full of shame. You know, a sinner is always guilty of himself. So whether the federal government name or shame before charging them, to me, I see it as something that we should not bother ourselves over, because already naturally a sinner is full of shame all by himself, because he's guilty of himself. He knows.
So why do we arrest killers or armed robbers and take them to?
Someone will be seen as guilty, because even if the law means that.
Let's say, for example, we feel case of arresting, taking to court, so the court to make a pronouncement. What's the point of all that?
Now, the point is that is what the law says. The law says that the person has to be tried and be found guilty. Now, finally, whatever concludes in their shame and physical pronouncement of whatever you want to say concerning that person, because the law has already proven that yes, this person is guilty. But naturally, a sinner is guilty of himself.
Okay.
He's full of shame by himself. He's been intimidated by himself. He's been condemned by himself. So that we should know this.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let's say via. Can I take a few more messages? This government is not fighting terrorism. As a matter of fact, they're aiding and abetting it. It's not just a perception, but a reality. The body language is obvious. Mr. Wilson Owajarin, CP Frankenbaum, Peter Afanaya, aren't these the spokespersons of the EFCC, Nigerian police and DSS who regularly name and parade suspects before trial? Even the army spokesman, Brigadier General Onyeman Wachuku, does the same thing. So why is this different? Or do the sponsors have a restraining order or court injunction? That's from Tex. Good evening. If the federal government continues to hide identities of those that cause problem in the country, then Nigeria will continue to be a lawless country. Is Nigerian judiciary really active? Do I have any other comments via Facebook as I wrap this up? Okoro Nyekachi on Facebook goes, I don't understand this government. God is watching them. And M.A. Chidozie goes, insincerity at its best. Onyesha Jaffor goes, it's always difficult in serving under a failed government. It makes you a confused person and trying to cover up their failure. And let's see, maybe back to WhatsApp. A pregnant from Port Harcourt goes, it's a terrible experience, hearing that the FGO presidency said they can't name those operating the Boko Haram movement. Yet, same presidency named IPOB, Avengers, Ojibwe Republic operators. If you can name some names behind the smooth operations of Boko Haram without fear or favor, and I think the FG is biased and corrupt in judgment and should not be trusted again. Well, I have to wrap this up right now. As I said a while ago, the perception may be false. It may not be right. The federal government may have the best and most noble of intentions, but the federal government must remember as well, or any government at any level in Nigeria must remember as well, that perception is reality. No matter how noble your intentions are, perception is reality. Alright, so business news comes up shortly. When I return, allegedly police shot some workers of Julius Berger. We'll talk about that in a moment. Do please stay with us.